Welcome to Story Weaver. There were three friends named Jack, Sarah, and David. They lived in a small town near a dense forest. They were all in their mid-20s and had been best friends since childhood. One day, Jack suggested they go on a camping trip in the forest to escape the monotony of their daily routine. Sarah was hesitant at first, but David was eager for adventure and convinced her to join. As they entered the forest, the tall trees provided much-needed shade from the warm sun. They pitched their tent near a small lake and started a campfire. "David, I've always loved camping, it's so peaceful and quiet out here." "Sarah, I agree. The sound of the forest is music to my ears." "Jack, it's like we've entered another world. The city and all its noise seems so far away." As they sat by the campfire, they heard a twig snap. They looked up to see a deer drinking from the lake. It was a magnificent sight, with its grace and beauty. They were all in awe of the animal's grace and elegance. "Sarah, it's like nature is putting on a show just for us." "David, I know, it's amazing. Let's not disturb it and enjoy the moment." The friends sat in silence for several minutes, watching the deer drink from the lake. It was a peaceful moment, one that they would never forget. As night approached, they settled into their tent and talked late into the night, discussing their hopes and dreams. They all agreed that this trip was exactly what they needed to break the monotony of their everyday lives. As they drifted off to sleep, the forest came alive with the sounds of crickets and owls. The three friends slept soundly, knowing that they were in the heart of nature and surrounded by its beauty. The next morning, the friends woke up early to go on a hike. They packed a small bag with snacks and water and set off into the forest. As they walked deeper into the forest, they noticed that the trees were getting thicker and the undergrowth was becoming denser. They had a sense of excitement and anticipation, not knowing what they would find next. "Sarah, I can't believe how dense the forest is getting. It's almost like we're exploring uncharted territory." "David, that's what makes it so exciting. We never know what we're going to come across next." However, their sense of adventure quickly turned to worry when they realized that they were lost. The trees all looked the same, and they couldn't seem to find their way back to their camp. "Jack, we need to figure out which way to go. I don't want to be stuck out here forever." "Sarah, I have a compass, but it's not working. I think we must be near some type of interference." "David, let's just keep walking and try to find a landmark or something that will help us get our bearings." As they continued to walk, they started to notice that the forest was becoming eerie. The animals had gone quiet, and the air felt heavy and still. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound coming from up ahead. "Sarah, what was that?" "Jack, I don't know, but it doesn't sound natural." "David, we need to be careful. We don't know what's out here." As they cautiously approached the source of the noise, they stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin. It was in disrepair, and the windows were boarded up. The door was hanging off its hinges, and it creaked as it swayed in the wind. "Sarah, do you think anyone still lives here?" "Jack, it doesn't look like it. But let's check it out anyway. Maybe we can find something that will help us find our way back." "David, I don't know. This place gives me the creeps. I think we should just keep moving." Despite David's reservations, Jack and Sarah decided to check out the cabin. As they entered, they noticed that the inside was just as creepy as the outside. Cobwebs covered the walls, and the furniture was old and decrepit. Suddenly, they heard a noise coming from the back room. "Jack, what was that?" "Sarah, I don't know, but we should check it out." "David, I have a bad feeling about this. Let's just get out of here." Despite David's protests, Jack and Sarah cautiously made their way towards the back room. What they found there was beyond anything they could have imagined. As Jack and Sarah entered the back room, they found themselves face to face with a mysterious figure. It was tall and shadowy, with piercing red eyes that seemed to glow in the dark. "Sarah, Who are you? The figure didn't respond, but instead started to advance towards them. Jack and Sarah were paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. Suddenly, the figure let out a blood-curdling scream that echoed through the cabin. "David, come on, we need to get out of here." He grabbed Jack and Sarah by the hand and pulled them towards the door. As they stumbled out of the cabin and into the forest, they could still hear the scream echoing behind them. They didn't stop running until they were far away from the cabin and the mysterious figure. Once they were a safe distance away, they took a moment to catch their breath. "David, what was that thing?" "Sarah, I have no idea, but it was like nothing I've ever seen before." "Jack, we need to get out of here and find our way back to civilization." However, as they continued on their journey, they started to notice that the forest was no longer the peaceful and tranquil place they had encountered the day before. The trees were twisted and gnarled, and the undergrowth was thick and thorny. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "Sarah, I have a bad feeling about this. We need to be careful." "David, I agree. We don't know what else is out here." As they trudged deeper into the forest, they eventually stumbled upon a small village. The villagers were wary of the strangers, but they offered to help them find their way back to civilization. The friends were relieved to finally be back in a familiar place, but they couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed them out of the forest. They never spoke of the mysterious figure or the abandoned cabin again, but they never forgot the experience either. Years passed, and the friends eventually moved on with their lives. But they never forgot the terror they felt that day in the forest and the strange and mysterious figure they encountered. To this day, they still wonder what it was and what would have happened if they hadn't escaped. The memory of that day stayed with them, a dark and haunting reminder of the unknown dangers that lurk in the shadows.